Pardon an interruption, this is Troy Hill with the Star Chronicles. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So if you're interested in making your own podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
The Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
Just Us Radio presents the Star Chronicles.
How about this, Cowboys?
Yeah! And goal.
And welcome to episode 4 of the Renegade Chronicles, where we cover all XFL news and content. I'd like to welcome my two number one Renegade fans, Starstruck fan, and Lisa. How are you guys doing this evening?
What's going on, Troy?
What's going on?
You guys are ready to talk about some Renegade football?
Nope.
No Renegade football? Anybody?
Not yet.
Okay. Well,
Not
okay.
unless there's a former Cowboy ends up out there.
It's possible. That's
It
very
is very
possible. But again, that was just a joke. But this is the Star Chronicles episode 4, where we discuss everything Cowboys related. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in this week. But we had an exciting preseason game to watch on Saturday night, didn't we? As the Cowboys destroyed Houston Texans 34-0. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that starstruck fan?
Oh my goodness. Domination on all sides of the ball, actually. Came out a little bit slow with Dak trying to hit Gallup. They're still trying to get that on that same page, but they were finally able to connect on that one touchdown. So that was pretty good.
Yes.
But all around, defense and offense, everybody's on.
Yeah, it seemed like it was like more miscommunication than anything. I mean, I saw like in social media, people went kind of nuts that first series, but I really do chalk it off to miscommunication. What do you think about that, Lisa?
Yeah, it looked like to me Dak was throwing him open, which a little bit, which kind of made me happy, even though it looked like Gallup was running one route and Dak was anticipating another one. So, I mean, one of the things that really stood out though after the game was both players were like, "That's on me, that's on me." Mm-hmm. And then one quote that Dak had that really, really impressed me that said, immediately afterward, after that series was over, that Michael Gallup came over to him and was like, "Dude, was that me? Was that you? Like, what can I do to be better?" And he said, that just shows his maturity and getting more comfortable with the offense and more comfortable with Dak and just, having those shaking off that rookie mentality of paranoia or whatever it was. Not paranoia, that's kind of a big word, but like a negative word, but being able to communicate with your quarterback better. I think he is set up to have an incredible year.
Yes, I think Michael Gallup, yes, he's definitely stepped it up. Not saying you could see flashes and everything last season, but it seems like everything's really coming together for him. And I like the fact that first drive didn't do anything. Because I always kind of want to see how the offense comes back and bounces back from the second try. So I was pleasantly pleased, especially with the second drive and the level of maturity and poise, for them to keep pushing forward instead of regressing. What are your thoughts, Starstruck?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I look at, like Lisa was speaking to the fact of Gallup and just how they're just trying to get on the same page with one another. I just tried to imagine how it would look if we get that Alvin Harper, Michael Irvin 1 and 2 that we once had. We've been waiting, anticipating a number 2 for quite some time now.
Yes, that's very true.
We have a number 1, but that number 2 has always been difficult. Even we had Miles Austin Then when we got number 2 in there, it's like, then T.O. got let go. Then you get Miles Austin. They bring Dez Bryant in. Then Miles Austin got hurt. So it's been quite some time since we've had that 1-2.
No, it's very true. I mean, either whether it was injury related or level of consistency of our number 2 receiver, it has been a long time since we've been able to have that full fledged number 2 receiver, on our football team. Thoughts and opinions on Tony Pollard? Everybody's still going crazy and gonna gaga over Tony Pollard. It's kind of hard not to, right?
I think the thing for me is, what it's going to be like, because let's all be real. I don't, if game 1 rolls around and Zeke is still not signed, then I'm going to panic. But right now, I just feel like it's going to happen. I don't know when. I don't know, but can you imagine? This is what I got caught up in the other night during the game. Like, we're missing a couple, 2, 3, 4 actually starters on offense. Probably missing 3 at least starters on defense.
Yeah, let's go down to names because it is important. What was Tyron Crawford? On
the defense.
Yeah, Byron.
Jones.
Tank.
That's 3 people right there. I mean, but you wouldn't tell if you were just looking at the box score. At the end of the night, didn't watch the game. You would have thought that those guys were out there.
Yeah.
Well, and then you start thinking about it on offense too. You're missing Tyron Smith. You're missing Zach Martin. You're missing Zeke. You're missing Amari. Yeah. And honestly, like, those are probably 4 of your top 5 players.
Exactly.
Like, let's be real. And then when you start thinking about, okay, Tony Pollard, as if he has to be the starter, makes me a little anxious. But as a tandem with Zeke, makes me more than cautiously optimistic. Borderline makes me giddy.
Yes.
Like, I try to keep my excitement contained. Because it is the worst relationship I've ever been in. But,
yes, I know Zeke's holding out, but I don't see any scenario where he doesn't play week 1. I really, really don't. I mean, because the reality is he doesn't do much in preseason anyways. If he wasn't a team, he still wouldn't be doing anything. He wouldn't have carried the ball once yet. So in my mind,
and I think when you look at it like that too, we may not have really tapped into what Tony Pollard really could do if Zeke was here. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't have been the feature back. He wouldn't have been running with the 1s. He may not have even been running with the 2s. And now you've he's been able to step up and kind of take that number 2 role. Even, I mean, by process of elimination, he's been playing with the 1. So he's automatically asserted himself as the 2. But I mean, if they're on the field, if Kellen Moore can work his mad scientist magic and put them on the field at the same time with Amari, with Michael Gallup,
he will.
What?
I've got it.
Yeah, it's gonna.
I'm trying to say the F word, which is faith. I'm trying to say it. I think I just said it.
I know my fist was getting all tense. Yeah, I was like, oh, faith. Okay, good. No, but this is to me is like the running back situation is kind of just a conundrum and stuff because Pollard's doing so well. And even, Alfred Morris had a nice run, had a nice cutback, scored a touchdown. But at the same time, you got to start thinking about, well, what about Weber? Because that's not is that really a guy that you want to try and put on the practice squad and have him be claimed by something? Because he's not going to make it. I mean, if you waive or you cut him, he's not going to make it to that period, to go to the practice squad. I mean, you can make the same argument about Johnson, too, even though Johnson's regressed in preseason. I mean, we're definitely not looking at him like we looked at him, before preseason. But still, I don't think that's a guy that you want to just cut and just let go.
I don't think he's going to make it. I think they're going to release him, unfortunately, because we're just so deep right now. And Darius Jackson has the experience that they might just stick with Jackson just off experience alone, unfortunately.
See, I still think – it's like Alfred Morris is another player I wouldn't be surprised, and I like Alfred Morris, but he's another player that I would not be surprised it was the one that's going to be, short end of the stick at the end of this preseason game.
I don't know. I think you still got to keep his. You're right, but I think you still got to keep Alfred Morris' experience on the side. If he's willing to stay and not costing us a whole lot, I think you've got to keep Alfred Morris around.
I agree.
True, but are you guys like 100% on that? Because I'm like 50-50 on it right now.
As opposed to who?
As opposed to keeping Weber.
Yeah, no, I'd take
Alfred
Morris.
Weber's
no
not
question.
I don't think Weber would beat out Alfred Morris. I think you've got Pollard, Zeke, and Alfred Morris.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the speed. I mean, you can't. I mean, I'm just looking at the speed factor of it.
Yeah, but have you seen? I mean, has Mike Weber really shown his speed against ones?
No, I haven't seen anything at this moment. I'm just going basically what everyone's been saying in training camp before preseason actually started.
My thing is,
because there was a little buzz for him. I mean, there was a little bit of a buzz for him.
But if he was as good as the buzz was, he would have been playing with the ones instead of Tony Pollard.
Bingo.
Well, yeah, that's true. No, you guys are right. Excuse me, I tip my hat to both of you.
Because for some strange reason, they keep putting him in at the end of the game. For some strange reason, he looks good. He's got speed and everything. But for some reason, they have not. We're already through 3 games. So even if he gets in the first, he's playing with the first in week 4. It didn't matter at that point because nobody else is really going to be out on the field.
Yes.
So something's keeping him from getting in there with the ones. I don't know what it is.
Well, he was the one after the first couple weeks of practice and maybe even that first preseason game.
I don't think he was the one in the preseason game. He was in practice.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Not in the preseason.
At one point, he was getting more of the reps with the ones than Tony Pollard, and then maybe it was in that first preseason game where Tony Pollard just got his chance and took it and ran with that.
Something's happening in practice, something the teams aren't on board with, and why they're doing it the way that they're doing. I'd be surprised. I think there's something there.
You might be right. I mean, there's some things that we'll never know, that they know. Let's talk about the defense for a moment. A lot of turnovers. Very, very impressive. And that's one of the things that this defense has lacked over the last few years. So it was really, really refreshing to see so many turnovers, especially in a game. In one game, I saw more turnovers in that game. Probably I've seen like in a stretch like 3 or 4 games last year. So it was kind of nice to see that.
No doubt. And I mean, with this offense, and Troy, I think you touched on it a couple weeks ago, with if you've got that kind of ball control and your defense is giving you back possessions, then you don't have to score 45 points because if you have set 3 drives that take 8 minutes apiece, that's a half.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so if you're scoring, I just think that the defense and the 3 of us talked about it in our group text during the game. The energy level, that's what I love about this team so far. The youth is running the show and they are fun to watch. And I hope it continues. And again, I go back to my cautiously optimistic, but they're fun to watch right now.
Yes,
and
they are.
I know it's preseason, but it was fun.
Yes.
Saturday night was fun.
Yes, it was a fun game. I mean, yes, it is preseason, and we're not, listeners, we're not going crazy because we do get it, but still, it's the way they won. I mean, I understand it's talking about our ones beat their ones. We annihilated their ones. I mean, so how can't you have some bit of a level of excitement about it? One person that we kind of owe an apology to, or I know I owe an apology to.
Taco Tuesday.
It was one game. Settle down.
Mr. Taco. Well,
I've got my post ready for Taco Tuesday.
I'm going to give it. Yeah, but everybody head down to Taco Bueno because there's going to be some free tacos.
And
but
it's going to be along those lines, too, so stay tuned. Taco Bueno post coming up.
Well, no, we've been so hard on them. I mean, I know I have been, but I give them some credit because it just seemed like that day late and a dollar short. I mean, he was early on things.
He was right on time and had extra money.
Yes, he did. So I mean, I was pleased, and I'm really, really looking for. I hope he gets his ankle straightened out so we can see what he does the following game, because I'm sure he'll be playing his following preseason game on Thursday. I mean, I just want him to be consistent. Now that performance is what you want your first round pick to do. So I don't know what has happened recently for anything to click in his brain that this is what you have to do.
There's part of me that wonders if it's not the support from his teammates, that he's finally getting over that mental hurdle to where he's like, I just have to go out there. And he even said as much in his, I don't know if it was in his post-game press conference or when I heard it, but he's like, I just have to go out there and play. I know what I'm capable of. And I think maybe, and it's hard. I think it'd be hard to come into the league like that, especially when, it was a stretch for them to take him when they did. And I feel like they panicked with the pick, and he hasn't performed. And I think it's easy to get caught up, especially him. It sounds like he gets caught up in the social media frenzy and the fickle, a lot of the fickle Cowboy fans that have just been, and me included.
True.
But you're going to have to show me that for more than one game for me to be like, I was 100% incorrect about you.
Yeah, but the thing is about people like Taco, and there's other players in the league probably suffer from the same thing. You can't be sitting there, feeling bad about what people say about you, especially when they could not take one snap in their entire life, in the NFL.
Yeah, but I think that's completely irrelevant to people like that, because when you go to those big D1 schools like that, you've always been heralded as the second coming. You know what I mean? And so then, like him, he even went to, he was at Michigan.
True.
You're playing in front of 100,000 people every week. And then, you get here and it doesn't go your way. And this fan base takes no prisoners. You see how they are with Dak, and he's the freaking quarterback. So I think that does a number on, that would do a number on your psyche. And it has nothing to do with, taking snaps, not taking snaps, whatever. Like me as a girl, I've never taken a snap.
True.
But the more and more people that keep saying things, the easier it is to believe them.
I don't know.
The thing is, honestly,
me personally, I don't think I can't take criticism for a guy that's packing groceries at the Piggly Wiggly. I'm sorry.
It's not them, Troy. It's not them. It's not them. It's not them, Troy. It's not them, Lisa. Those people are saying, the fan base are saying it, but they're not the only ones. There are people, legitimate people, analysts, people in Sports Center, people in studios that are saying Tacos is a bust.
No, you're right. You're right.
There are some legitimate people up there that are saying he's a bust. He's not just, trust me, it's not the fan base, because I've seen, Mick Spagnola and some other people that are questioning him out there. It's not just the fan base. There's some people that he's seeing that are some legitimate people.
Yeah,
that
got
are
some
saying,
skins
up until
on the
this
wall.
point, he's a bust.
Yeah. Actually, you make a great point there. So yeah, you correct on that. So, paying attention to, I wouldn't.
Yeah. You got Deion Sanders. You got people up there that have a voice that are saying he's a bust. He's seeing that. He's the number one pick. You bring in Robert Quinn. The team essentially is saying he's a bust because they brought in Robert Quinn.
Yep, that's actually true. No, you're 100% correct.
Yeah. So there's some legitimate voices out there that's gotten his attention, I believe.
Well, and I agree with that, but I also agree. I also think that if you're if you start to doubt yourself even a little bit, which I feel like he probably did after year 1 and year 2. And is this year 3? Yeah. Is this year 3 for him? Yeah.
Yes.
Or 4?
3.
Yeah. So, I think if you allow the doubt to creep in, then I think all the noise gets in. Not just the experts, but I think you hear all of it. Now, granted, some of it may hold more weight than others, but then it's just like a snowball, and you can see that in his responses and the way he, would engage negatively with the fans and stuff like that. So it's, while I do agree that the analysts and the people with skins in the game probably do get to him more, the way he engaged with fans over that whole hot boy thing tells me it's way more than just, he's hearing all of it.
Well, true, and by all purposes. I mean, he is a young man. He's not like grown like us. I mean, he's still in all reality, he's still basically a kid. I mean, he's like one of my kids. I mean, if you're getting it from everybody, it can have an impact on you, I guess.
Yeah, it is holding some weight. The fan base is holding some weight, but the cherry on the top is those people with the legitimate voices.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Who standed out most, except the obvious, like the Tony Pollards of the world, Michael Gallups? Who really stood out in the preseason game to you guys? I know there's one name I know that Starstruck will be stating here very, very soon. This will be the third week in a row, I believe.
It'll be my third week in a row to say the same person, too. It's different than Starstruck.
That's different. Let's go have a mention of Hyder. I believe that's
Yeah,
I'm sure that's something that Starstruck's want to mention. Why don't go ahead and share?
Yes, indeed. Again, you see him raising half, and like I said, Taco, your chance is there. Robert Quinn's out for 2 games. People, the environment, the culture is changing. That's one thing. You saw the excitement. You know when the last time I seen excitement like that? The culture like that. The Seattle Seahawks. And guess who we have from Seattle?
Richard. Yep.
You can see how that Pete Carroll brought that university mentality into the NFL. And you see it now generating through the defense. And it's starting to pour now over into the offense. I think you're going to see that same excitement when Zeke and Amari and those guys get in the lineup as well.
No, I totally agree with that. Yes, I mean, I'm very, very excited, but still to tread back a little bit, just the notion that these players haven't played yet, and what we got going on without the Coopers and the Zekes and the Tyron Smiths and the Zach Martins and the Crawfords and everything. I mean, I think that's the reason why most Cowboy fans are very, very excited going into the regular season right now.
Let me ask y'all this, and I heard this question was posed earlier today, and I really started thinking about it, and I was like, I'm going to save that for tonight. When was the last time that you came out of preseason feeling pretty solid about the upcoming season?
It's been a long time. But then again,
for me too.
But then again, I mean, like me and Starstruck, we've watched practices for a couple of years in a row now. I mean, and we didn't have like a level of excitement at all, watching it. It just seemed like some things were just off. But I definitely feel a lot better, having a new offensive coordinator. In my opinion, as far as like seeing like the plays like completely revamped, I can't really say that right now. I haven't seen anything that's like really, really different from what I've seen. But I'm hoping that's just
scoring.
Scoring. But I haven't seen scoring. But has the play selection really changed that much?
But they're not going to do any of that.
Well,
execution is on a whole different
We
level.
didn't even have that under Linehan.
Well, that's true too.
But to me, I think Dak looks a lot more comfortable.
In control.
Yes, definitely. That's a good word. Yeah.
Because before it was like, after every play, you'd almost think Dak was kind of looking towards the sideline. And he's like, okay, what next, coach? But now it just seems like, and this is without Zeke and Amari on the field right now.
I can't even imagine. I'm trying not to overblow it, but it's hard. Like, and I don't, I'm not a pessimist when it comes to this team, but like I always say, I mean, we joke about it all the time with my cautiously optimistic, but that's how it is. And I'm trying not to, and honestly, we could, that year that Dak was like lightning in a bottle and went 9-1 or 10-1 or whatever, I still was holding my breath thinking, okay, when's the wheel, when are the wheels going to fall off? And it sucks feeling that way. But because of, I think the last 24, whatever years, however long it's been, I just think we as a fan base, I can only speak for myself. I'm conditioned to think the worst.
You have to see about it. We're going to almost have to wait till after week 4 before we really know something. Nobody's going to give the Cowboys credit in the first 3 weeks. I'm sorry. It's just, you got the Giants, Redskins, and Dolphins in the first 3 games. You have the Saints in week 4. Nobody's going to, even if we go 3-0, nobody's gonna. I don't care if we're smashing those first 3 teams. Nobody's gonna give them any type of credit until after we do something against the Saints in Week 4.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly
Unfortunately,
right.
that's just the way the schedule's laid out this season. We're gonna have to just play who we get though.
Anything else on preseason? Past preseason game?
The safety position, we've got a problem. All these guys want to play safety, and we only have 2 spots.
Yeah.
These guys are playing back there. They're balling out.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about opportunities at like any Eric Berries or anything like that at a point. That's That's completely erased out of my mind.
Sale.
I've seen.
Yeah, we need to put that to bed and just quit talking about it.
We don't even have the money for one.
Yeah, social media is not putting that to bed because I saw that still like 3 or 4 times on my feed today.
Well, that's why we're not them.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. I don't know, the secondary in general. Rashad is having such just a great impact on these guys. It's just really, really outstanding. It just, I mean, it's like everyone's just everywhere. You know, it's like zero concerns. And one quick thing. I thought Sean Lee was supposed to play.
I never did hear that.
No, I heard
that. Actually,
I thought he was
to the game. I thought they said that Sean Lee was going to get his first action. But you know what? That might have been an IG page that had that. I don't know if that was like a legitimate source. But I did see something floating out there that he was going to get some snaps in Week 3.
Yeah, it wasn't legit. Which, I mean, maybe it wasn't legit. Which I would like to express to the listeners. If you have any questions about the show, go ahead and send us an email at thestarchronicles@mail.com, or you can go ahead and follow us at @the_Chronicles. Again, that's _Chronicles on Instagram. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of fake news out there when it comes to Cowboys football. I mean, I guess like along with like everything, and just people just jump on it. And my rule of thumb is if you don't hear it on ESPN or CBS Sports or something like that,
or Adam Schefter.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be true. I mean, yeah, Bleacher Report has improved over the years by far, but it's still like a lot of opinionated nonsense that's not even true. You know, and like all these other sites and stuff like heavy, what's heavy.com? They're sort of trying to tell, you know, like about Zeke. Well, Zeke, you know, talking about Zeke turning down the offer or whatever for the contract, you know, and people are like went crazy about it. I mean, if I'm serious, if I don't see it pop up on my phone, like official Dallas Cowboys site or ESPN or something like that, I'm not even going to entertain it. It's just a waste of time. But people just get goofy and crazy. But going on into Zeke, any feelings or opinions about the current state of what's going on with the contract talks?
Other than the news that's floating out there that, you know, when this thing does happen, it's looking to be very much north of Todd Gurley, even though we were getting initial reports out there that it was going to land in that number 2 spot in between Gurley and Le'Veon Bell. I got a tough time giving that number 1. I know what he's done statistically. But, man, you look at Gurley as far as character and on the field, and you see why he's getting what he's getting. And I understand why Zeke needs to be ahead of Le'Veon Bell, because I believe Le'Veon Bell's had a couple of suspensions. So I think a 2 spot is pretty good for him. But
under the circumstances, I completely agree. Now, there's some fans out there who say, "Oh, we're just haters and we're fake Cowboy fans." I mean, how are we fake Cowboy fans? Because we're looking at the betterment of our team. You know, we're trying to save a little money here, you know, and if it's at Zeke's expense for the mistakes he's made, I mean, so be it. I mean, it's not like the Cowboys threw him up underneath the bus. They've been supportive of the things that he did or allegedly did, you know. So I think if it was me, I'd take that contract offer. And I mean, it gets to a point where you just got to just realize, you know, what the reality is. I mean, if he didn't have these issues, he wouldn't be in this situation to begin with. And plus, he still has 2 years on his contract.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, too, if he didn't have the off-the-field stuff, I don't think he would have been trying to get a new deal right now, is my opinion. But maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. But also, I don't think Jerry gives in and pays north of Todd, because if you think about this, LA will, mark my words, LA will regret that contract. That will be the undoing of the LA Rams, because they're saddled with that contract now. And now he's got the degenerative knee, whatever, arthritis or whatever in his knees. And so because they set that market, and I've heard Steven say it multiple times, just because LA jumped off in it doesn't mean we have to too.
Yes, and I think the Rams have done that with, that kind of money with several players. And I think they took the all-in approach basically on everything. I mean, we might not even hear from the Rams like another 4 or 5 years from now, maybe even 3 years from now.
I think it'll be way quicker.
They might be exactly what they were before. Nobody's. So, I mean, I do like the fact that the Cowboys are taking steps. I mean, they got the whole playbook of how free agency works and everything from the things they did in the 90s. They know how it can impact your team. I mean, just think how many seasons we couldn't really pick up anybody for all the stuff that we try to like keep these old players back on the team and everything by just like re-upping them and everything.
Yeah.
Money whipping any big time free agent to walk across. I mean, as Cowboy fans, some of us, we need to let that stuff go.
Oh, yeah.
Some of these free agents get cut. The Cowboys aren't going to kick the tires on a lot of those players,
especially not now.
No, it's just not that type of football anymore. We need to let go of that. No, Jerry, just throw the money at him, Jerry. Okay,
there's nothing to throw.
Yeah, let me whip out my billfold real quick.
Well, and I think people forget that, like in the 90s, there wasn't a salary cap. Jerry could throw all the money that he wanted to at people.
We're probably the reason why there is one now.
No doubt.
I think we were one of the teams that took a hit with that, wasn't it? Was the Cowboys and the Redskins?
Something like that.
The franchise tax or whatever, the luxury tax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why don't you share the? There was an interesting quote from because I guess Maxim magazine interviewed Ezekiel Elliott within the last week or so.
Yes. Do you have that one, Lisa?
I don't. Let me pull it up real fast.
Okay, well,
I can get it on Twitter.
Okay, yeah, everything's on Twitter.
Up, we'll keep chatting here now. As far as that Ezekiel Elliott, I think he still would have went for a contract, honestly. And I had been thinking it, and I actually shout out to West Coast Cowboys on his page. He has some good topics from time to time. And he was spot on with this, as far as a lot of people saying that Zeke was asking for his money early, when I think a lot of people may have forgotten that he was drafted with Dak and Jalen Smith. And Jalen Smith just got paid. Dak's on the list to get paid. So you were going to honestly expect Zeke to wait 2 more years, and he's supposed to be kind of the face of the franchise right now?
And the number one selection. And the number
remember,
one
that
selection.
Was a choice by the Cowboys to give him that 5th year option. That wasn't something that Zeke said, you know what, I'm fine with that. Give me a 5th year option.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. And, he's the number 1 pick. It was the number 1 pick that year. Jalen Smith, signs. But God bless Jerry or Jalen Smith.
Yeah,
great player.
They're deserving. But Zeke, Jalen Smith, like you said, he's only played, 22 games or something like that, season and a half.
Yeah.
Zeke's been there for all. Dak's been there for all.
Did you catch the mistake by the broadcast? They had it like in the box scores. Like when they showed a player, they show like his stats or whatever, his career stats. Mm-hmm. They said Jalen Smith had 237 sacks.
Oh, wow. I missed that.
Yeah, it's on there. It's on there. I was cracking up like, wow, already? Yeah, but anyways, back to Lisa.
Oh, please. Okay, I got it. I was having problems with my phone. It said, okay, so his quote was, I love playing for the Dallas Cowboys. I love the organization, my team, and my teammates. I do want to be a Cowboy for the rest of my life, and hopefully that's a possibility. But even Emmitt Smith, the greatest running back ever, ended up going to play a couple of years for another organization. So it's just the nature of the game. But I want to be a Dallas Cowboy for as long as I can.
Yeah, but it's still a different situation because Emmett.
But I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's the point
Well,
at
no,
all.
I'm talking even deeper than what we've discussed before about saying that Emmitt Smith didn't have a contract and everything. But Emmitt Smith was old at that point, and
He was the
wanted to
all-time leading rusher already.
Yeah, and he wanted to be and he also wanted to be the feature running back, and the Cowboys decided to go with younger people. You know,
Yeah, he said he was the diamond in the rough. I remember the quote.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Troy Hambrick and stuff. Oh God. Never. I probably mentioned him twice on this on our podcast, but yeah, that guy suckered us all for sure. But I mean, there's still clear differences that separate the two.
Yeah,
and Emmitt
all-time
Smith,
leading rusher.
Yeah, and Emmitt Smith wasn't having no issues neither.
Yeah.
Well, but I think his point to that is kind of it's not that he's trying to compare himself to Emmitt. I don't think that for 1 second. I think he's saying that even if Emmitt can go play for someone else, he gets it that it's the nature of the game, the nature of the business. Like, I don't think he's trying to put himself in that same category. But at the same time, like, when y'all were talking about Dak, that he was drafted with Dak and with Jalen. Well, Dak and Jalen, y'all talked about the fifth-year option, but as a first-round pick, that fifth-year option is always going to be in play. And the only way you don't get opted in is if you're terrible.
Yeah, that's true, too.
And so what this is going to do, and I've said it before, but what his holdout, ultimately, depending on what he gets paid or whatever, this will be a topic when the CBA is redone in 2021. Because then the owners, we talked about it before, the owners are going to say, well, then what's the benefit to us for the rookie deals being fully guaranteed for the first round draft picks? Because there's no benefit now to the team if somebody can hold out. But there's no way. I mean, like I said, I will be the first to come on here September the 9th and say I was 100% wrong. There's no way he holds out this season.
No, I completely agree. He'll be there week one. Yeah. I mean, I just don't see it any other way.
Man, I hope so.
But
because he's still obligated. If he holds out this whole season, they're going to start right now. They're just, and for those non-finance people, right now they're just accruing fines. Accruing basically means somebody somewhere is keeping a tally of here's what the fines would be should we decide to assess them. Once they are assessed is when it starts coming out of his bank account, or as a deduction on whatever paychecks he is supposed to get. And if you don't think and it's like I told somebody today at work, if his agent says you should sit out this whole season, because even if he's for those that don't know, if he tries to sit out this whole season, he's still obligated for 2 more seasons. So then that drags into season 3 in effect, because you've skipped this whole one. You're still obligated for 2 more where the Cowboys legally don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So what is it benefiting you by holding out?
Yeah, the whole
and then,
go ahead. Finish it.
Well, like I heard the other day, they were discussing it, when does it become a thing in the locker room? Because okay, so if you do miss the first few games, are you secretly hoping the team is terrible? So it seems like they need you more?
I don't know if that's what the perception is going to be, but these first 3 games are easily winnable games without Zeke. So that's where the conundrum is at, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think he's going to be playing week 1. But I can also, in a second time, also flipping over, he might not play until that first game in New Orleans either, because we're not going to. I don't see any condition where we're going to need Zeke the first 3 games.
We shouldn't. I should say.
We should.
We should.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes.
I don't like that. I don't like that mentality at all, because you want all the toys in the toy box need to be available.
Yeah, that's true.
And at some point, I don't care what anybody says, at some point, and if y'all listen to, we're going to talk about Jalen in a second, but if y'all listen to Jerry's thing when he was talking at the press conference about the Jalen deal, there were so many digs at Zeke. It was unbelievable.
No, that's very, very true. I mean,
He's talking about him being there and he's not quitting on his team. And I mean, at some point that starts to penetrate your locker room. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, and like with me, I don't know what Marshall Falk's credential is as a personal trainer, wherever the case may be, but he needs to just shut up altogether. I mean, he should have no access to the media because he's fanning the flames right now as we speak. Yeah. I mean, he's the guy that's in one of the guys that's in Ezekiel Elliott's ear right now, calling Dak a bum, and if he gets his contract, he's going to become a bum right after, and all this type of stuff. I mean, what's wrong with Marshall Falk?
Yeah,
I never thought he was a problem. I mean, I never knew.
Yeah,
I don't know where that came from.
Well, yeah, he's feeding the media, saying recently that when Dak gets his money, that he's going to turn into a bum, basically. And he's the trainer right now. Ezekiel Elliott apparently is partnered up with him for conditioning and training right now in his off season.
Yeah, and I just don't see it. I don't see it like benefiting. I mean, as far as physicality goes, maybe, but not as far as the mental aspect. I mean, that's the last person I probably want in my ear. And I'm just basing it off of things he's currently said. I mean, I know he, as an announcer or a broadcaster, he got in trouble and lost his job or whatever. I do know that. But as far as anything else, I mean, I don't know much about it except what I've heard like within the last week and seen of what he said. But let's go ahead and that's probably enough with Zeke. Let's go ahead and go into Jalen Smith and touch on him for a few moments. Contract extension, very, very appreciative. I mean, he's a hard worker. I mean, he's overcome the odds where he was, with his injury. I mean, it's a really, really good feel-good story if you think about it, right?
Yes. Definitely deserving of his contract.
What do you think, Lisa? Because I know you got your hand raised up in the back there.
I do, and I have never been. Y'all know how I feel about him. He has not slowly. He jumped right into my heart when he got drafted, but he's becoming my favorite player. And the three of us have talked about it, but he gets it. He gets what the benefit is, and this won't be his last deal.
No,
and there's no doubt in my mind that if he hit, and I know he knows this too, there's no doubt that if he had hit regular free agency a year from now, he could have gotten paid a lot more money than he did. But he gets it from a long-term perspective, from the after football things that the three of us have talked about it ad nauseum. He understands the benefit of playing with this organization your whole career. And I was thrilled when it came down. I was for all fronts. I was thrilled for the actual deal from a just purely financial standpoint for this team. But I was just genuinely happy for him too. Like he's the kind of player you want on your team.
But I'm not gonna lie. But when my phone did that little, I was expecting Ezekiel Elliott contract signing. When I read it, I was like, "Oh, Jalen Smith, all right." So I was kind of caught off guard with it. But, anyways, what are you guys thinking about this upcoming preseason game? Not going to be a lot of starters out there, if any. Any key things that you're looking for in this particular football game?
Everybody's playing for a job. That's going to be out there. And so we're going to see what the depth's going to look like for the safety position. And also the rotation, perhaps on the D-line. And looks like Mayer made up, so it looks like he's no longer auditioning. I think he's solid now after week 3. So we can give up pretty much on that search. QB2 looks locked in. So, yeah, we're just looking at depth for this week.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of depth on this team, it seems like. I mean, I'm very, very excited.
It's a good problem to have when you don't know who to cut. From everybody's playing well, and it's going to be hard to make the decision.
Yeah, but I'm really, really curious. I know there's going to be some players that are going to be like, "Oh, not that guy." I mean, it usually always works out that way, But again, actually, that's really all we got this evening for this particular program, episode 4. Again, if you have any questions about the program or questions you would like us to discuss on the show, please give us an email at thestarchronicles@mail.com. Again, thestarchronicles@mail.com. Or you can follow us on our Instagram page at @thestar_chronicles. So, on behalf of myself and Gina, or God, I was going to say Gina, old co-host. Jesus.
That's all right.
Just us radio host. But
she gonna get you, Troy.
I miss those.
You know she gonna get you.
I miss
when
those
you get off
ladies.
there, you gonna get got.
no, our
She
show.
gonna get you.
No, that show will be back one day or another. But
in all fairness, it is y'all's dope new podcast. Remember,
Already started.
Already started. Sorry, no, it is a dope show, but it's with myself, the Starstruck fan, and Lisa, and I appreciate you guys both. You guys do a great job. We'll see you guys next week, or if we hear any signings or anything, we'll end up dropping on the line real quick to let you guys know what's going on and our thoughts, or we might hear it from us again talking about some roster cuts, because that's another big deal. But we'll see you guys next time. You guys want to say bye to the people real quick?
So long.
go Cowboys.
I'll see you Thursday if you be at the stadium.
How about them Cowboys? Come see me at my stadium preseason game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm Jerry, and I'm out.